Namaskar and welcome everyone to Growth by Design series. Again, we have Ramas Krishnan, the director and CEO of Tab India. We are very pleased to have him on this talk show for the entrepreneur, trying to make it very simple and easy for everyone to understand very complex and important topics which every entrepreneur must understand and experience. And every entrepreneur is facing this similar dilemma over a period of time. One of the very important topics in this second part is regarding the team, the HR issues, which maximum people are facing these days. Maximum enterprises you meet find that they have some challenge or the other with respect to HR. The salaries are going above the roof, right? People are not available. A lot of other challenges with regards to engagement of people, work from home, a lot of cultural shift in the enterprise after COVID-19. So we will take this as a topic of today's discussion with Ramas and try to understand or pick his brain on certain aspects which are very relevant for the business owners. So welcome Ramas, and we'll start the session now.
Thank you very much.
For you, Ramas, just to keep it interesting but short for all the entrepreneurs to enjoy the video till the end. For an MSME, how has the employer-employee relationship changed in the recent years?
Thank you, Mitesh. Again, very happy to be in this second part, and I think very glad to be here. And today's session is interesting because, in a way, both of us are in the service industry. But I go back to a lot of my clients and your clients too. I think most of them are in manufacturing and so many others. In fact, I work with almost 68 different industries. And I think it's very important to understand that the employee-employer relationship has not changed necessarily in the recent years, but I think it has just come to the fore in the recent years, right? Because I'm sure if you see the old Hindi movies also, the employee-employer relationship were of some kind of problem or the other. Today we have a different problem, except that those days we used to have trade union leaders and difficulties, and the bosses were always considered to be, the villain, so to speak. And today we almost feel when we talk to business owners that they actually believe that the employees are mercenaries. So I find it very funny how the life has changed, right, in the whole in the situation. But I want to really say that it really hasn't changed. I think it has remained the same. And I think one of the cornerstones of understanding is that employee-employee relationship doesn't have a hierarchy. I think that's the problem. I think you always imagine that there's a hierarchy. For example, we think that the customer is above us and the employee is below us. I think that thinking is wrong. If we think that employee-employee relationships are equal, just as the way customer and I am equal, I think a lot of these problems will disappear. If you singularly think of employee as the new customer, and that's the common theme that I've been explaining to owners, because I think that's the best way for me to communicate to owners the relationship we need to have with our employees. So I think they understand it the best when I say that employee is the new customer. Which means today we don't expect loyalty from customers, neither do we owe them loyalty. We see that it's a business transaction which we want to convert to a long-term engagement. I think it is very similar to an employee, right? There is a sale involved. The employee is selling his or her own time, for which we are giving a compensation. The whole idea is today we expect employees to be loyal beyond what we expect, right? And then we feel a kind of a cheating kind of a sensation if employees quit and go. I think that it's an expectation problem. It is nothing else. I think if we treat employees and us as equals, then we realize that they need to take care of us as much as we need to take care of them, provided we meet each other's needs. I think it's quite simple as that. And I don't think this relationship has altered ever. It is just that today it has become a little bit more upfront, simply because opportunities have increased.
Yeah.
For me, go ahead, Mitesh.
Yeah, I also think that this Gen Z and new age millennials have changed the way of looking at how they look at things, how they look at employment, how they look at way of working, how they look at employers, how they look at bosses, how they look at seniors and juniors. It is completely changed in that sense. But yes, as you say, the employer-employee relationship still continues and it doesn't change the main fabric or the core of employer-employee relationship. Having said that, Ramas, I want to understand in a lot of scenarios where owner-managed businesses are there, they are trading, manufacturing, and also into different areas of construction, real estate, and a lot of other such fields. And they think that there is no need of having any HR policies, culture, it is just transactional in nature. You pay money and you get the work done. Does this work that way, or the different industries other than the service industries, which typically is known for managing employees nicely, are also required to manage employees nicely with the help of culture, policies, and so on? What is your thought on that?
I think great question, right? Great question. Because if I'm talking to sales, I always tell people that products don't sell themselves. People buy people. I mean, that's constantly what I remind people when it comes to sales. Similarly, in any business, any industry, while there are products and technology and industry and backbone, ultimately the product is a carrier of service, and who provides the service? The people provide the service. It doesn't matter whether somebody is in the service industry or not. People are the cornerstone of a business unless you are in a situation which is completely automated all over the place where people are not involved at all. If people are involved in any format or the other, people make a severe impact, and there's very clear impact in the way the business runs. And therefore, HR, culture, policies are as critical to any industry as much as services. Now, just like your variations, it so happens that in service, the predominant resources happen to be employees. To that extent, the employees are equivalent to the biggest source of capacity, right? And therefore, managing capacity becomes a lot more difficult. So the role of what HR plays in a business might alter. But whether you have 5 employees or 50 employees or 5,000 employees, the need for culture, the need for policies, the need for HR, and the need for empowerment exactly remains the same, simply because without people, processes, an organization cannot scale. You might put in whatever automation you want, ultimately you need people to help you scale. So to that extent, I think there's an unequivocal answer, yes. I think HR policies have nothing to do with the industry. To the extent the impact may vary, but we need a culture, we need a process. It depends more on what I want and how I want to achieve my personal vision. And if I want to achieve my personal business as an owner, my job, I am the chief HR manager. My job is to ensure that the personal vision of my employees are also addressed.
Superb. So we understand two mantras till now. One is employee is the new customer, and employees sell to employees, not goods are sold to people. So this is a new thought process, or you can say refreshed thought process of what we should do in on our day-to-day lives in with respect to people in our organizations. Third, very important question that comes in my mind while we are discussing HR and the critical aspects of HR is, how do you look at organizations, people, policies, business owners in one basket, and what is one thing that you want to suggest to the business owners that needs to be changed with respect to people, policies in the organization?
Again, I can give you one very simple thing, because owners by definition are far easier and prudent to customer. We don't need to teach a business owner to think about their customers, because that's been drilled into our head. So I don't want to suddenly shift the focus and try to say, no, try to think about people and it's changed. I don't want to make it complicated. I want to make it rather further simplified. I'm just saying, look to the customer as a clue to how you need to treat your employees. For example, you just mentioned a very interesting point. The way the Gen Z behaves, today has changed dramatically since the time it was. Let me just draw your attention to something else. If we take our earlier generations, right after independence, when you think my granddad or my dad was involved, at that time, getting a nokri or speaking a job was the most important thing. From security. From that, when I look at my dad's generation, if you see, my dad's generation was already secure. They were taken care because thanks to my granddad's generation, my dad's generation was all about getting a little bit more abundance, was trying to make sure that we get as a family what we want. Cut to the chase. When I came into the generation, for me, that even abundance was handled. So I was looking at a career. I was able to travel abroad. I was able to do what I wanted. Cut to the chase. Today, I want my kid to become global citizens. Now, it doesn't require common sense that for me to look at my employees, I just need to look at my family. I need to look at my customers, and then imagine that the way my kids are behaving is the way my new employees are going to behave. So I don't think we need rocket science. So there's one thing I want to leave to the business owners: don't complicate HR. We are good at it. If we're able to manage our families, if we're able to manage our customers, if we're able to manage our suppliers, we need to bring in that common sense to the business. And then if we look at the way the world around us is changing and we want to be treated as customers, do the same for your employees. I think the HR policies and manuals will follow. Just don't complicate it. That would be my singular one thing for business owners. Actually, Mitesh, I want to take it off from here because you asked a few interesting questions. Now, for me, it's equally interesting because you're in the service industry, and people are the most important thing that you manage. So let me ask you, in your way of dealing with people, what are your experiences? What are your learnings in the way you are dealing with people in your organization?
Yeah, I deal with people and organizations, and I always think that things will change if you get one right person on the place. Even if you are getting, say, five wrong people, and if you get one right people, one right person, entire story can change. So one has to keep on searching right people over and over and over again, and that's a process, and that needs to be continued. So I never say that there is no opening in my organization. I always say that there is an opening. Please come and see me. If you can find a place in my organization, I am happy to place you as well. So it is vice versa. And I always don't tell them what is our offering on the salary. I tell them that what do you want, and vis-a-vis how are you going to justify what you want. So that is how I differentiate myself as a HR manager, or you can say chief HR officer of my own company, because I always feel that people are an asset. They have different ways of working and thinking, and it is always the organization who needs to find out what is that right thing that you can bring out of them, and that will compensate the entire benefit, entire cost that you are incurring. So I never look at it as a cost. I always keep on looking at it as an investment. And that is how we have transformed our people side. And also, I look at it as a harmony, as oneness, as togetherness, as a joint effort that we all do together and make a difference. And I try to pass on all the credit to right people in right time, in right manner, so that they are always motivated and happy. People always don't need only money, they also need a lot of other things
Oh, yeah, yeah,
organization,
absolutely.
and that has actually paid back to us very well. And I've also understood over a period of time that it is mutual respect that takes you next level all the time. We are a people organization, people oriented and people based organization, and I love to work with people, and so people also love to work with our company. So that is
I think
how.
that's well said. Absolutely well said. Yeah, but that's great lessons learned as well.
Perfect. So I think we learned three important things from Ramas today. First is the employee is a new customer. We have to look at employees in a slightly different manner. Although employer-employee relationship continues to have the same flavor, the same taste, the same thread. Second thing is employees purchase from employees. So it is always employee to employee relationship instead of people purchasing things. So we need to find right relationships at right place and work in right manner to make difference in an organization. Third is look at yourself and your family and see that you can mirror what is expected from your organization by from your team. So don't be upset or don't be tensed about how people think today. Just look at yourself and you will see the mirror happening in your own family, your own hierarchy, your own side of it. And you will be able to settle with the policies, procedures, systems, and everything for the team accordingly. And you will be able to fulfill the happiness of the Gen Z, the Gen Millennium, and so on, whatever is there. Right? Ultimately, people are people, and people need to be looked at as people, not as resources. So these are
Absolutely.
few things that we picked up today. Thank you, Ramas. It was pleasure having you on this series. We will continue to have these discussions, and we will take various inputs and pick your brains on various things which are
Sure.
actually coming in the mind of entrepreneurs over a period of time. And you all please follow this YouTube channel, like and share and subscribe this video to right people as and when you feel that it is relevant to them. And we'll continue to be in touch with you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Mitesh. Bye.